everyone, it's Kim.
And Robert from Kitten Marlowe.
If, as you're listening to the Strangford expedition, you think to yourself, I want to run By Endurance We Conquer at home, we have excellent news for you. The team over at the Gauntlet and Plus One EXP have formed a dark alliance to bring By Endurance We Conquer, Beach Blanket Body Bag, and Dead Pilled to print.
Each of these popular 2 to 3 session games have been visually remastered and have core rules added to make each one a standalone experience.
Persevere through Arctic survival, experience a tragic psychedelic beach bash, or watch members of the Manosphere get picked off one by one. Each of these games touches on different themes and types of horror and invite your table to experience the award-winning Carve from Brindlewood system in its most accessible format ever.
The project has already surged past its funding goal and is unlocking and expanding the connected tissues that weave these games into a wider universe of play.
Support the game now through August 14th at ttrpg.link/KMB3. That's ttrpg.link/KMB3. The Strangford expedition is intended for mature audiences and may contain material that some people find disturbing. Please see the episode description for content warnings and listen with care. Ravi, standing before the mirrored iceberg, this ice cut like a polished diamond, you start to hear this deep thudding sound beneath the ice, coming closer to you. And then you smell something pungent, this fermented kelp smell, the smell of blood in fresh snow. And then very close in your ear, as if standing inches away, you hear, "Ravi, darling."
And immediately he closes his eyes shut.
Right before you did, Ravi, you saw appearing in the reflection of the mirrored iceberg, your mother. Could you describe her for us?
I think she is a round, kindly shaped woman. If you just put the gender beam on Ravi, same positioning, hair, mirrored silver streak. And I think it's almost frightening because he thinks he's seeing a different version of himself due to the superstition until it speaks.
That's all right, darling. No need to open your eyes. It's probably better this way.
Wolfgang, are you're still here? You're real, right?
Wolfgang is growling. And in the back of your head somewhere, you hear Dr. Delanvier on the deck of the Fang just one day earlier. When Wolfgang growls, you do well to pay attention, because he only growls when death is near.
And again, tries to compose himself. I don't know who or what I've disturbed, but I mean no harm. I was looking for my friends.
But you're ever so far from home. And then you feel an arm wrap around you. Very motherly, very comforting. And the temperature around you is rising. Just a little bit. Just enough that you're no longer shivering from the cold. Come with me where it's safe.
Safe?
Why, yes. I do fear you'll die out here, Ravi.
It is rather cold.
Leave those sailors behind. They do not mean you well. They do not mean me well. You wouldn't want anyone to threaten your poor mother, would you?
No, Mum. Of course not. I'm sorry.
It's all right, boy. Little boys do make mistakes, don't they? It's mother's job to forgive, and I do forgive you. Now let's go home. And you feel that arm around you tighten. Ravi, I suppose you can choose to go away with the Isigaruk, but if you would like to resist in this moment, it will be a night move.
Okay, cool. I would like to do that.
Marvelous. This is going to be a night move with sensitivity, I suppose. I feel as though it must be. What are you afraid will happen if you fail?
That I'll wander in the snow forever.
Yeah, I think that there is a very real fear of becoming an avatar of the Isigaruk here, and I don't think Ravi's spirit and mind would survive such an ordeal. Yeah, so that is, I believe, how it is worse. You will die if this happens and be possessed by the Isigaruk to perhaps lure another hapless member of your crew to their doom. Night move with sensitivity.
Oh, okay. Oh, goodness. Big money, no whammies. And that is a solid 6.
Ravi, you open your eyes and turn around, and for a moment you do see your mother, Evangeline, very plainly dressed, a little dirtied apron wrapped around her waist, her hair pinned up. But the shadow behind her is long and large and cruel and terrible. And you see your mother's skull split open as a large thing crawls out of the skin of your mother. 10, no, 12, no, 15 feet tall, too tall for you to comprehend, blocking out the sky, blocking out the northern lights. This immense monster opens its enormous arms and still speaks in the voice of your mother. Come give your mother a hug, child. And you feel yourself moving, not of your own accord, just this little boy lost in the snow. Wolfgang is barking and growling and trying to grab at a bit of your pant leg, and you brush him off. You no longer need him, and you lose yourself in the embrace of the Isigaruk, and then we hear your neck snap.
I guess I'll mark a burden, please.
Yeah, let's leave Ravi's poor neck alone for a little bit. I will give you an opportunity to think about that prompt for the next chapter in the life of Captain Strangford. Let's go ahead and visit Einar and Maeve. The two of you, along with the rescue party that set out from the Fang, have settled down and made camp at the abandoned supply depot. No roles here, really. I think I'm just curious to see how you all are spending your nights.
I think Maeve is very shaken by what's just happened. She's usually pretty cool, calm demeanor, kind of keeps to herself, very downplayed everything. She is shaking. She is breathing a little erratically. Realistically, she's having a panic attack, but she's not voicing that necessarily. And you just see her hands in her pockets, grabbing something and just shaking, staring blankly ahead of her.
Similarly, Einar is also not on the most even footing, but his reaction to it is more of a dissociative one, where he has just gone sort of blank behind the eyes and is just going through the routines of setting up camp. Despite the coldness, he does not try and sleep in a tent or in what little shelter remains at this. Rather, he sets up a bundle of furs and a sleeping bag up on top of one of the ruined buildings here, where he can see the stars as he falls asleep.
Sleep does not come easily. You all hear throughout the night the weeping and cries of Dr. Norland, the scientist who, despite Maeve's rescue and despite the attentions of Dr. de Lanvier, is nevertheless in an extremely bad way. But sleep does eventually come. And the two of you, perhaps all of you, making camp, dream of a large, motionless shape watching you, far away on the ice. All of you dream of the rhythmic thudding beneath the ice that Einar swore that he heard in a dream earlier today. You smell fresh blood, and all of you arrive at an understanding. It doesn't rush. It waits in the dark, just outside the firelight, like it's learning your shape. There was something buried in the ice, not the creature, the thing it was meant to watch. Once it was worshipped, then ignored. Now it punishes. When you wake in the morning, Dr. Norland is no longer crying. Dr. Norland is gone. Reginald Dumpley is hovering over a fire, dishing out what looks to be some meat stew and handing it to the sailors as they wake.
Maeve, as her eyes blearily open, she feels like she's been raked over the coals. She sees the doctor is no longer there, isn't seeing much fuss, and quickly scrambles up. Where did the doctor go? Where did he go?
Dumpley looks at you over the stew pot. Well, lass, where he went, I suppose, is a question for a priest.
That hits her. Where has his body been put?
Ice is too hard to make a proper burial. Wrapped him in a cloth. Set him just over there. Now, lass, eat. We don't want Mr. Norland to go to waste.
Maeve walks over and takes out her utility knife and stabs the chef in the neck.
Boy, I think maybe you just do it. Ooh, no, I should make you roll. You are murdering a guy or wanting to. But even so, I think this is just a day move.
Amazing. And I am using my multi-tool to do this.
Marvelous. This is going to be a day move with vitality, and you can go ahead and take it with advantage because you are invoking your multi-tool. What are you afraid will happen if you fail?
She is not in her right mind, and this callousness that she is perceiving to be after she just went through the worst possible situation with the doctor.
Yeah.
Being met with this flippancy has just been enough to tip her over the edge. And she fears that if this doesn't go well, she dies too easily.
Yeah, I could certainly see a scenario where, especially, God, I hate to bring gender into it, but like especially you being like one of the only women out here, that like you are left behind for sure. Go ahead and make that vitality roll with advantage.
9.
Maeve, please describe the last moments of Reginald Dumpley.
There's shock first by this being the immediate response. But she is not doing this emotionally. She is doing this as a reaction. And it's quick enough, and she is strong enough that she has used these saws and carpenter tools all these years. She stabs so far into his neck that the amount of blood that comes out means that it is a very quick death. At the very least, a quick unconsciousness. And there's a little bit of fear in his eyes after the shock before he collapses to the ground. And Maeve just stands there.
Einar, what is your reaction to seeing this unfold as you wake?
Yeah, Einar swings almost ape-like from the top of the building where he was, and not quickly enough to stop Maeve from stabbing the cook, but quickly enough to stop her from stabbing anyone else. He attempts to grab her, and specifically grab the hand that she is holding the multi-tool in.
She doesn't resist. She doesn't have beef with anyone else.
We have already lost our captain, one of our doctors, and now our cook. Calm yourself before we have to lose you too.
Losing him was no loss. I am calm.
First mate Redwell, running a hand through his hair to smooth it, still even on the ice, trying to maintain some formal affectations and manner of formal dress, speaks rather clipped. Yes, well, I suppose Dr. Norland was no great loss. He was not much of a survivalist, more of a drain on resources, but Mr. Dumpley was doing an admirable job of keeping us all alive.
You want to eat your teammate so quickly.
I want to live.
If you are so concerned with your own life above all else, perhaps you shouldn't have gone on this voyage.
I went on the voyage because I believe in Captain Strangford, a trait I believe we all share.
Then what are we still doing here? Shouldn't we move on, leave the dead on the ice, and hope we still find the living captain?
Well spoken. He looks at you, Maeve. Wrap up, Mr. Dumpley. It is the least you can do.
She just puts on her coat and starts heading out.
Maeve, how are you feeling in this moment?
Oh, seething. Seething. There is so much that she has seen that does not bother her. Cruelty, necessarily. Violence. It's fine. It's just what this world is. Maeve, I think, had put herself in an emotional state with the doctor when she tried to save him, in a way that she has not done in many, many years of actually caring to protect someone and wanting to be the thing that can save them. And having that ripped away from her and treated, feeling like she has been spat on. She wants to scream, she wants to hurt, but she knows this is the punishment she deserves for the choices she has made in her life. So she finds a moment to breathe and find that stillness, as much unfeeling as she can muster, to continue on with her day.
Maeve, please take the condition haunted.
Einar joins Maeve in wrapping up the body of the former cook and speaks low enough that so only she can hear him.
I have sailed with many men who have made the decision to eat their fellow men for sake of survival. I have seen, even on journeys less perilous than this one, that decision go badly. You made the right choice.
As you just said, people make the choice to do so. This choice he made for us.
Still, we should finish here and move. The sooner we find the captain, the sooner we can get out of here.
Just has a moment of, I think our shoulders are maybe touching, and there's just a moment of breathing out, a nod, and continuing.
Ravi, let's flip back a couple pages in the story of this young photographer. You still turn around and see the thing wearing the skin of your mother split it open and stand before you. But what happens after that?
Ravi doesn't hesitate. He just runs with everything left in his body, legs and all. Hopefully Wolfgang is behind him, but for now he's booking it for his life.
Take the condition run away. Ravi, you and Wolfgang bolt across the snow and the ice, and you hear the Isigaruk scream, this haunting screech. But as you continue to run, that smell of fresh blood grows fainter. That large shape retreats farther and farther onto the horizon. You run, you keep running. As you're running, I think this is a good opportunity to tell the story of the next burden of the Icebound Dream. Could you go ahead and read the prompt for us?
Narrate a flashback to the moment Strangford's path began to change, not on the ice, but at a desk alone, when he found something no one was meant to see. Who tried to stop him? What did he do instead? Show us a decision that sent him down a road he couldn't return from. I think we're surprised as the view shifts and the room is actually quite nice and decorated, not the captain's quarters or the ship that we're used to, harsh conditions, freezing cold. It's a nice study, and sprawled across the desk is a myriad of tomes, books, far back as scrolls from ancient times with a different language, still referencing the same phenomenon or mystery in the Arctic. And what he takes as inspiration or divine is the fact that no one stops him. There isn't someone to clear his mind or change his morals or etc. And he feels affirmed and complete despite knowing nothing that these works say.
Einar and Maeve and the crew of the rescue party. I think this second day's journey across the ice is a lot quieter and tenser than the first one. You are moving faster, as Lars perhaps is quick to point out, considering you no longer have Dr. Norland or Reginald Dumpley. However, you are without Wolfgang, who Lars was relying upon as a guide. Hours pass, and eventually you come upon a very deep crevasse in the ice. As you grow closer, it seems as though that there are carved steps that descend into the darkness of this incredibly deep crevasse. The wind and the snow have died down here. It's sort of eerily calm, like you're in the eye of a storm. And there is a strange fragrance coming from the void below. Paint the scene. What sound echoes up from below that no one else but you can hear? Ravi, you can answer this, even though you are not yet present in the scene, because you will be appearing momentarily.
Maeve hears the wails of a young toddler and the screaming of a man just overlapping. makes her kind of cower. It's too loud.
Robbie hears this crystalline tinkling like wind chimes in the air. Very faint, but still enough to make him jump.
And Einar hears a low, moaning sound, unsure if it is made by voices of those in pain or ice moving slowly and crushing against itself, all underlaid with a steady drip, drip, drip that should be too soft to hear, but somehow roars like thunder.
Just as the rescue party hesitantly approaches the edge of this crevasse, you hear footsteps trudging through the snow as two figures run towards you. Wolfgang arrives first, but just on his tail is Ravi, thin, wild-eyed, but alive.
Well, look at that. Some good news for a change. The most competent member of our team is back. And also the photographer.
Maeve runs. Ravi, are you okay? Where have you been?
Great race. Wolfgang, that was fantastic. Good aerobics.
You're racing the dog.
Yes, that's what you do in the Arctic, doesn't it? You get exercise, warm the blood.
Okay, I am glad you're back. Maybe do not go racing the dog. We're sort of in a serious situation here. We've lost members of our team. You're not taking this seriously.
What do you mean? Who did we... where's the doctor and Dumbley?
The doctor did not make it, and the cook made his own choice.
He left.
He made the choice.
I was going to pivot to Einar for a translation.
She killed him.
Oh.
He deserved it.
I did not want to eat our other member.
Good. Now we are all caught up. Enough talking. We are here to find the captain. Have you, on your excursion, seen him? Or any sign?
No, I didn't see anything. Just the great scenery. The cold.
Okay, my dear. You should stay close to us, and we should figure out what's down these stairs.
Redwell hesitates at this. You don't mean to send us down there?
I will not send anyone anywhere, but the captain came out searching for something. I see stairs in the middle of the ice in the Arctic. I think there's a good reason he could have gone down there as well. You do not have to go. I am going to go.
Before we possibly go down to these steps, can I have a moment, since we're all together and I don't want to separate?
Yes, of course.
And he starts digging through his pockets and pulling out the pocket Kodak and unspooling the film. I would like to use my move.
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
Once per game, if you find the space and time to develop your film, you may also ask, why? The keeper's answer is a clue.
So, Ravi, the first thing that I must answer is what is about to happen at the ice stairs. That is very simple. A fight is about to break out between First Mate Thomas Redwell and Lars Hegeland, the Ice Master and Trailblazer. Lars, much like Maeve, wishes to descend down the ice steps in search of Captain Strangford. Redwell is trying to pull rank and have the party go elsewhere, afraid of what lies down those stairs. Why is this happening? Ravi, I imagine that you took a kind of like group photo and are developing it, and you're seeing this why in the picture as you're developing it. It's able to pick up on some details that weren't immediately apparent to your eye. And you notice a bit of a shadow, these kind of like darkened lines appearing behind your crew. And as you were further developing this photo, we see these lines start to stitch together their words. There's something that someone had carved into the ice of this crevasse along the makeshift staircase heading down. And the words say, "No orders, no return." That is a clue. I think seeing those words, Lars points and says, "Well, that must have been the captain. We have to go down and we have to go after him." Redwell pulls out his pistol. "That way lies death. We will not be heading down."
This way lies death. You are holding a pistol.
I followed every damned order. We all froze our fingers to the bone doing it. And for what? Just silence and ice and a captain who vanishes like a ghost. What if he doesn't want us to follow him? What if he's not even down there? Who knows how old that message is?
Einar mutters to himself, "Fy fun," and with one of his big hammer-like fists, takes a swing at First Mate Redwell.
Einar, make the day move? What are you afraid will happen if you fail? This will be with vitality.
I'm afraid that Einar won't be fast enough, and Redwell will get a shot off before Einar can punch him.
That makes sense.
So that is an 11 on the dice with my +2 for a 13.
Einar, what does this look like?
I think the First Mate was in his own mind, ranting to himself, like not really thinking about what he was going to do with that pistol should push come to shove. And so Einar's fist comes out of nowhere and just right across the cheekbone. There's a wet crunching sound as the bodies make contact, and Redwell drops to the ground, not knocked unconscious, but just stunned for a moment. And Einar reaches down, grabs the pistol that dropped from his hand, and tucks it into his jacket.
We have already lost several. You are not the captain. Stop playing at it.
Einar, you can go ahead and add Redwell's pistol to your sea bag.
Nice.
I'm getting all the items.
All the treasures!
Lars is the most experienced of us in this terrain. If he says we go down the stairs, I would follow his lead.
Lars claps you on the shoulder in thanks.
Even if he is a Swede.
He claps again a little harder.
If we start to move down, Maeve is just going to gesture her hand for Redwell to go first in front of her, and she will take up the rear.
I think, Maeve, you pick up that Tucolito hesitates a little bit before going down the ice steps.
I'll look at her, see if she has anything she'd like to say.
I fear if we go beneath the ice, we will be buried beneath it.
Yes, we might. You do not have to come if you do not want to. You don't have to stay with us, the cursed group.
You don't have to go with them either. We could leave.
I am already under the ice.
Your party starts making their way down these ice steps, farther and farther into this crevasse. What are you all doing as you're making your way down?
I want to see if there's any other carvings. There is that big one up top. If there's anything else, any sign of a breadcrumb trail, or even just other activity, if there's any other shoe prints or any sign of other people.
That sounds like a find clues with reason. I am going to put this at disadvantage, I feel, because you're haunted.
3?
Ravi or Einar, anything you want to do as you're making your way down?
Einar isn't looking for clues. He trusts that others who are more fit for that will have that handled. Instead, every couple of minutes, as they get farther and farther down into the crevasse, he pulls a python, a steel pin, out of his bag and hammers it into the side of the ice.
Ravi, what about you?
I would like to circle back to our paint the scene and possibly look for the source of that tinkling in the ice.
I love that. Find clues with sensitivity.
That's a 9.
So, Maeve.
Mm-hmm.
Heading down these ice steps, you're at the very back of this line, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You are running your hand along the ice wall as you are descending down, both to feel for carvings as well as a way to ground yourself. These steps are just out over this crevasse. There is no banister or railing protecting you on the exposed side of these steps. But everyone else seems to be making their way down the steps pretty easily with no issue, albeit quite slowly. Maeve, you feel a hand on your back shove you off of the ice steps and into the crevasse. I am going to let you try to get your bearings, but it's going to be a night move to try to survive this.
Yeah.
As you felt something push you into the abyss.
Oh, jeez. I want to say I'd use my multi-tool, but I don't think I would think that fast. I think I'm just desperately trying to grab and slide and, kick my feet into the ice and just find purchase.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Night move. Vitality.
Okay.
What are you afraid will happen if you fail?
Well, then I go plummeting my death.
Yeah.
But also like this. Maeve isn't afraid to die, but to go in that way feels wrong.
I feel you. You said that Redwell was right in front of you. I think actually Redwell will see you slip and try to help you, and you will drag him also into the abyss along with you. That is how it is worse than that. I am going to put this at disadvantage because you are haunted, because who pushed you? Unclear.
Yes, so true. Okay, here I go. Oh no! 5.
I think the sad thing here is that all the rest of this rescue party are so far ahead of you that it's not until the rest of the party reaches the bottom of this crevasse that they even notice that Maeve and Redwell are not with you. And you just see this bloody mist on the floor of this crevasse where they fell and smashed, their bones breaking to their death.
Yeah, I would love to mark a burden.
Lovely. I'll give you a moment to think about that. Ravi, I imagine towards the front of this rescue party, you returned so suddenly and in such a bad way. I think Chukalito is like not letting you out of her sight, nor is Wolfgang, who is always at the front of the pack. He is continuously looking over his shoulder and making sure, like a good little duckling, you are still right in line. But you start zeroing in on that strange tinkling sound that you heard, like wind chimes, that no one else seems to be picking up on, although everyone does seem to be listening, though judging by the looks on their faces, what they're hearing is not quite what you are hearing. But Ravi, as you get closer to the floor of this crevasse, that wind chime like tinkle, now that you're listening to it, maybe it's shifted. Maybe it never was wind chimes. It now starts to sound a little bit like a baby rattle or a mobile for a baby's nursery. Indeed, placed on one of these ice steps is a set of baby shoes, clean, dry, pristine, and neatly tied together. That is a clue. How do you feel when you see these?
He steps over them, but they are stuck in his head, trying to piece, why would there be shoes here? Is there a baby here? And then tries to compact it, save that for later. It's too much going on.
Can you please take the condition mother's baby boy?
Sure! Yeah, that's so great!
Maeve, you've marked a burden, which means you do not go plunging into the crevasse. I feel like with Einar's permission here, you were placing those pythons along the ice as you were traveling down. I'd love to see that come into play with how we rescue Maeve or Maeve rescues herself. So Mads and Robert, if you could help me sort of collaborate on what all happens here.
Einar is just in front of Maeve in the line. So he doesn't see her stumble, but rather hears the noise behind him. And instinctively, completely unthinkingly, years of having lived up in the riggings of the ships, he quickly throws a rope into the most recent python that he just hammered into the ice and jumps towards her, one hand firmly holding that rope.
I think Maeve, when she slips, it's that moment when you're too afraid to scream and you're just going to... And it's just the breath, and she just reaches out blindly, but catches Einar and just tenses her body as hard as she can so she can try to get brought back up.
And they both go over the edge. One of Einar's 2 long arms wraps around Maeve. His other hand he quickly uses to tie a bowline around himself, securing them both, and they dangle just a few feet off of the edge, still for just a moment.
In that moment, she can think to take out her multi-tool and just jab it into the ice for a little more purchase to help haul herself back up.
And as Einar sort of helps her by pushing her up a little bit and then pulling himself up on the rope, says with another one of his smiles mostly hidden behind his rat's nest of a beard, "Watch your step. The ice can be slick."
Thank you. I think the ice can also be aggressive. Stay close to the wall.
Redwell pauses, looks at you, and then mutters under his breath, "And they did say bringing a woman aboard was bad luck. And take that condition of bad luck."
At that, Maeve stares daggers into him. "Would you like to test that bad luck?" I'll get in his face. I'll get close.
Redwell, recalling what you did to the cook and also noticing the hulking Einar behind you, rubs his cheek, which is still so swollen from being decked by Einar. And also, he looks at your multi-tool, which is still, I think, covered in some of Reginald Dumpley's blood.
Yeah.
And he shakes his head. My apologies, Miss Lidgren. I do believe that the cold and the stress is getting to us all.
She just smiles.
Maeve, as we're finishing up our trip down these ice steps, I think it's a good time to hear your burden of the icebound dream. Go ahead and read the prompt for us.
Narrate a flashback to the night Strangford chose exile over approval. His second expedition was unsanctioned. Show us what or who convinced him to go. Who did he leave behind, and how? Let us see the cost of slipping away from the world he once served. Captain Strangford used to be part of sort of a council of people who did expeditions and exploration. Things were discussed before journeys were made. As time went on, and he kept being around these mostly men, they wanted riches. They wanted to find ways to just bring themselves higher and higher in the upper echelon and just benefit from all of these expeditions. And the captain had always wanted answers. As he kept pushing these ideas and pushing that it wasn't about those things, he slowly ostracized himself from this council. But the problem with not having any people around is he started to lose any perspective. He was not bouncing ideas off of people, and he slowly was spiraling inside his own self. And there was nothing to kind of bring him back into maybe more reality. And you see just more of that of him alone in his office and reading through the same papers over and over again, his notes becoming more scribbled and his eyes becoming more feverish.
The crew of the Fang makes their way to the bottom of this crevasse, and you come upon a large cave system. These looping, maze-like tunnels of ice caves. All around you, you hear groaning echoes and the crackling and tinkling of glass. Paint the scene. What detail at the ingress to this maze makes it feel less like an entrance and more like a mouth waiting to close?
As we are deep under the ice, it's only natural for icicles to form stalactite-like from the top of each of these cave openings. However, these aren't the simple conical drips that one would see hanging off of a tree in the winter, but these are jagged, rough shapes, like broken and horribly defined teeth.
Any shift in temperature is noticeable in the expedition, but there is a almost rhythmic pulsating heat from the cave that almost feels like panting from a much larger creature.
As we enter into the opening, the heat is almost like a wall hitting you, and it feels like you can feel the heat ending behind you. And it gets darker further in that for some reason is almost a maroon color, like the stomach of a beast.
The Strangford Expedition is a Kitten Marlowe production. This episode was edited and produced by Kim Dalton and featured a theme song by Jason Myers. You can find out more about us by visiting kittenmarlowe.com, signing up for our newsletter, or following us on socials. For Discord access, exclusive cast talkbacks, TTRPG materials, and more, visit patreon.com/kittenmarlowe and join our doomed crew, the Kitten Marlowe patrons, in supporting artist-driven storytelling. Thanks for listening.